One good day, algebra. We are going on a CO21, and our objective today, yesterday, we kind of talked about slope. We were introduced to what slope is, rise over 1, change in y over change in x, slope formula, all that stuff there. Today, we're going to be looking to identify an equation's slope and y-intercept when given an equation or a graph. So here, starting with CO21, is where we're really going to look at how do we get an equation to the coordinate plane. How do we get a relation written as an equation to a relation that looks like a coordinate plane? Okay, and the two important pieces there are the equation slope and the equation y-intercept. So let's start with slope-intercept form. I told you yesterday that the slope formula is one of the most important equations you'll ever learn. This is another one, back-to-back important equations right here. Y equals mx plus b. Yes, sir? Because we cover this again in a different light later on. This is your intro to it. I want the power objective is the culmination of it. So, yeah, I'm introducing you to slope-intercept form here. Okay. Y equals mx plus b. Yes, sir? No, that was a slope formula. This is slope-intercept form. Very similar, but we'll go. Yes, quickly. The slope, as we know, is how the line moves across the coordinate plane, which I'll abbreviate CP just for space purposes. How the line moves across the coordinate plane. And in this formula, it is the variable m, which makes no sense why the m variable would be the slope. Usually we try and get letters kind of start the same with what they are. But back in the day, when math was first being discovered and taught, it was actually called the mlope. The mlope. But then language changed over time, and now we know it today as slope, but we kept the m variable for it. So there's a little math history lesson. 100% true. Kylie.
Lesson is not true, but can it also be because if it was S, it could look like a 5?
They assume that most people know how to tell the difference between a 5 and an S, despite the fact that my 5s look a lot like S's from time to time. That was actually pretty decent. 5, that's 5-ish. But no, my explanation is right. Ellen. No.
Is that what is the next to a
Yes, across the
is that a C?
coordinate plane.
Arrow M.
Yeah, the coordinate plane, and then in the equation, the m variable is what your slope is. Yeah. The y-intercept, this is new. What's the y-intercept of a graph? Kylie?
It's where the line crosses across the y axis.
Yes, it's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay? It's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. That is the y-intercept. And in slope-intercept form, we represent the y-intercept with the b variable. Okay? The b variable. The reason is, back in the day, when math was first being discovered and taught, it was actually called the y-bintercept. The b for bintercept. Okay? But then, as we go. Okay? And slope-intercept form, we already wrote what it is up here, but what I want you to also know is that it is the standard form for a linear equation, or a linear, I should say linear function, to kind of tie it into what we talked about yesterday. Standard form for a linear function. So when you see an equation written in that form, y equals mx plus b, you know you are dealing with a line, you know it has slope, and you can identify what that slope is as well as the y-intercept. Yes, sir? So x and y, represent ordered pairs that make the equation true, right? In any equation that you graph, each ordered pair is an x value and a corresponding y. Those would be what you would get if you plugged in the ordered pairs. They are the values that make the equation true. Okay, we'll get more into that probably a little bit later objective. Okay, and the m, just kind of as a quick summary, the m variable is your slope, and the b variable is the y-intercept. We kind of already defined that, but never hurts to write it again. Okay, so questions on these notes so far? Good. Okay. So going down to some equations, some relations, some in equation form, some in graph form. Your job here says identify the slope and the y-intercept. Notice this is written in y equals mx plus b form. You've got your x variable and your y variable, and then we've replaced m with 7, and we've replaced b with 3. So if you look at this equation and you recognize, hey, that's in slope and intercept form. What is the slope of this line going to be? Alex? 7 over 1. If you want to just write 7, that's fine also. But 7 over 1 is also an acceptable answer. And what is the y-intercept? Where does this line cross the y-axis? Alexis? At the point 0, 3. Okay? Because, of course, any point that's on the y-axis has an x value of 0. Right? So slope of 7 over 1, y-intercept of 0, 3. The next one, also in slope and intercept form. Ellen, are you confuzzled? Yes. By what? Jack? Do you understand how we got that 7 over 1? So this equation, y equals 7x plus 3, doesn't it look an awful lot like y equals mx plus b? So when you look at that, and if you understand that that m variable is your slope, if I ask you for the slope, you're just looking for what number's in the place of m. 7 over 1, or just 7. And then when I ask you for the y-intercept, you know, that plus b, you're just looking at what number's in place of b. Positive 3. There you go. Rowan. So why'd you put the 0 there? Because as an ordered pair, the y-intercept crossing the y-axis at 3 is represented by the ordered pair 0, 3. Right? 0, 3 is on the y-axis. That's the ordered pair. That's the point where this line would pass through the y-axis. Okay? Arlene. You can put 7 or 7 over 1. Either one's fine. Okay? Y equals 3/5 x minus 6. What is the slope of this line? Or another way to ask that, what is your m? What's the slope, Damien? 3/5. Meaning that from point to point, this line goes up 3 over 5, up 3 over 5, right? That's the rate at how the line moves across the corner plane. Joey, what is your y-intercept here? What's your b? Well done, Joey. Include that negative sign with it. That sign belongs to the number. In the first one, it was plus 3, so it was positive 3. Since it's minus 6 here, that sign belongs to the 6. So it's 0, negative 6. 0, negative 6 for the y-intercept. The last one, y equals 7 halves, negative 7 halves x plus 3. What is your slope? What is your m? Somebody I haven't heard from yet today, a new voice, a new contributor to the channel. Ellen, your time to shine. Good. Negative 7 halves. Down 7 over 2, down 7 over 2. The y-intercept, the b variable, Sophie?
0, 3.
Again, just like the first one, 0, positive 3. 0, positive 3. Okay? When you're looking at a relation in a graph form, we kind of already did this in the previous objective where, you know, if I ask you for the slope of this line, what's that going to be? Alex? 1 over 4, right? Up 1 over 4. Okay, you've done that before. You did that on CO21 or 20, whatever it was. Now the B, the new part, the y-intercept, where's this line cross the y-axis? Max?
0, -1.
0, -1, right? Y-axis right there. There's the point. Crosses it. Okay. 0, -1. Ellen?
So will like the B always start with a 0?
Yes. Yes. The definition of a y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. And any point on the y-axis, because you haven't moved side to side at all, right? The x value is going to be 0. Okay. Next one. What's the slope of that? Ooh, my goodness. Beckman.
1/4.
Huh?
Oh, I thought we were on the other.
No.
Sure.
1/2. Okay. Even if you go from this point to that one, right, which is plus 5 over 10, remember that reduces to be 1/2. Okay, so the slope is 1/2, and you can see if we go up 1 over 2 over and over again, we continually end up back on the line, right? And what's the y-intercept of this one? Catherine? 0, 4. Okay, 0, 4. The bottom three. Okay. What's that?
1/4.
Huh?
How'd you find like 1/2?
Because it's going up 1 over 2 from point to point. Or if you use the two ordered pairs that were given and got 5 over 10, remember that reduces to be 1 over 2. Okay. The bottom three, you're plotting the points first. So we'll practice with plotting too. -2, 3 is going to be there. 0, 5 is going to be there. What's the slope of that line? And what's the y-intercept? So same thing as you did in the two up above, only now you're plotting the points yourself first instead of me giving you the line directly. Okay? So you've got homework from both PO20 and CO21. It's not due till Monday. Con is due tonight as well. Football sheet's due tonight as well. Have a great Vets Day, folks. Show your work. That's how you math.